This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, as the nation heads towards the third level of the COVID red light setting, Otago students are getting help in isolation. 50 years of hosting tours at the Taiaroa Head Albatross colony are celebrated on the Otago Peninsula. And a group of older women are continuing their efforts distributing food to those in need across Christchurch. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. The University of Otago and the Otago University Students Association have joined forces to deliver care packages to students who are isolating due to COVID-19. The students are receiving essential supplies and a few treats if they've tested positive for COVID-19 or have been listed as close contacts.
Unloading essential supplies, ready to deliver them to students in need.
We're expanding out our existing welfare services that we provide to students, like our food bank service, so that we can provide care packages and essentials to any students who are positive for COVID-19 or having to isolate.
The OUSA is in charge of assembling care packages, receiving requests for them and delivering them to students. The packages include staples like rice, pasta, oats, fresh fruit and vegetables, as well as hygiene products. OUSA President Melissa Lama says the organisation has delivered many packages over the past few days.
I think today we're about just over 200 packages going out today to students. Yeah, which is fantastic. I think it's a good sign that they're reaching out, which is what we want. And if anything, I don't want anyone to sit there silently on their own, and to let us know what support you need. That's why we're here. Yeah.
She acknowledges this might be a challenging time for students who are in isolation, away from whānau, and might not have the finances to support themselves. Otago University is providing funding to buy items for the packages, so far adding $50,000, with a further $50,000 available if or when it's required. The university's Trade Services Division is helping provide muscle to get the packages delivered.
We are supporting obviously AUSA with the delivery of food packages to vulnerable students that are isolating through the campus and North Dunedin.
Any student isolating because of COVID-19 can apply for support through the Student Support Hub at ousasupporthub.org.nz. In Dunedin, the South Today.
There are 595 new cases of COVID-19 to report in the south, from Christchurch south, part of more than 6,000 cases nationwide. The government is placing the country into the third red light level of the COVID-19 protection scheme, also known as the traffic light system. COVID-19 Response Minister Chris Hipkins confirmed the move to the third red light level at a press conference today. Minister Hipkins says today's numbers of community COVID cases is in the area of 5,000, and after more than 3,000 yesterday, prompting the government to make the call. The change means rapid antigen tests, or RATs, become the primary means of testing for COVID-19, a measure to take pressure off the nation's laboratories. Isolation times remain the same as the shorter period introduced in Phase 2, 10 days for cases, 7 days for contacts. Most people who test positive will be expected to look after themselves at home, leaving clinical care available for those with greater need. 50 years ago this week, the Royal Albatross Centre was opened to give public tours of the colony at Taiaroa Head. The Otago Daily Times spoke to one of the tour guides who was working that day.
A much larger facility compared to 50 years ago. In 1972, the Royal Albatross Centre at Taiaroa Head near Dunedin first opened its doors to tourists, using an old lighthouse keeper's cottage as a base. Janice Taiaroa was a tour guide on the first day and recalls the thrill of helping the only mainland colony of royal albatrosses grow in number.
They're certainly very intelligent, beautiful birds, and they're lovely to work with.
The colony started after local schoolteacher Lance Richdale got fed up with people stealing eggs from the first 4 albatrosses at Taiaroa Head at the time. He decided to camp out to ensure the first fledgling of an albatross in 1938. One of the first 4 birds present in the 1930s was a regular named Grandma, who eventually became the oldest of the albatrosses to have produced a chick at age 62.
Yeah, she was a real sweet old thing. Some of them would give you a peck, you know, if you got too close, they'd sort of half-past snap at you, but not her. No, she was always very pleased to see people. If she could talk, she would have. I'm sure of it. She was a lovely old bird.
Grandma disappeared in 1989, but a colony has continued growing, and so has the tourist centre, which was drawing more than 100,000 visitors per year before COVID-19. Otago Peninsula Trust General Manager Robin McDonald says all the efforts from workers and volunteers is paying off.
Significant number of locals that have worked here, so it's been a great team effort over what's now 5 decades to improve the offerings. It's now what we believe a world-class visitor attraction.
As part of the celebrations yesterday, visitors were offered half-price tours. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After waiting for 2 years to hold its 40th anniversary fundraising book sale, the Regent Theatre is set to go. Due to COVID-19 guidelines, this year's event will run for 10 days at the beginning of April. To keep numbers down to within the 100-person limit, the event will be divided into 90-minute slots and people will be required to book in. Every person attending will need to buy a $5 ticket that can be put towards buying books or as a donation to the theatre. A free food distribution service started by 2 Christchurch grandmothers is looking for a new home after experiencing huge growth. Granny's Mobile Free Weekly Bread was launched in 2017 with the aim of distributing donations of bread and produce to the needy.
Christchurch grandmother Araha Bishop co-founded the food charity Granny's Mobile Free Weekly Bread 5 years ago after seeing a need in the local community. She now leads a team of 10 volunteers distributing food donations for free every Saturday in the Hornby area.
We come in and we set up. As you can see to the left of me, we have a couple of cars. Those are our volunteers and they do the Kai side of things. And we also have a car on that side of me, they do the COVID.
The group doesn't have any funding but relies on the donation of food and produce items from businesses in the local community. They chose the name Granny's to be the loving arms of the community, where everyone is welcome.
We come here and we get told a lot of different stories from people about their lives and their situations, and we do it with no judgment. We just love what we do and we love the people that we serve.
And Bishop knows only too well what it's like to need help from the community services.
I'm a mother of 8, so I was on the receiving end of something like this. Do you know what I mean? So really, for me, I'm giving back to the community.
She says they've grown from the early days where the volunteers went around knocking on doors.
We've just done it ourselves. We've found all of the things that we can. People have donated a lot of things. The community's donated a lot of things. So we haven't done this on our own, but we've not really needed to look for funding at this stage.
The Grannies are hoping to expand their operation to be able to offer more services to the community.
We're looking at really getting ourselves a building and becoming registered. There's lots of things that we can offer the community, not just the service, there's lots of things.
Grannies also want to have a separate youth and male divisions, spreading their wings to reach more people in need. In Hornby, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. Meridian Energy demands a long-term commitment from Rio Tinto if the Bluff aluminium smelter is to stay open. And we catch up on the latest global affairs with International Affairs Specialist, Professor Robert Patman.
Age Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including Little Bobs.
your joy with Jazz, the next generation from Honda.
Alert, alert, sale closure, imminent, sale closure, imminent.
My mate John's massive annual sale must end soon. The big one. John slashed a whopping 20 to 80% off his entire range of rock bottom warehouse price furniture and beds. His low prices are even lower, but not for long. Shop in store or online with click and collect or contact free delivery.
The big one.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street. And my mate John.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi there, guess who? Do you recognise the eyes? Oh, okay, it's a haircut. Anyway, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores are carrying on as usual. Despite what's happening in the world, we have got some great stock for you. Personally, I've spent 50 years in this business and we have some excellent supplier relationships. We've got great stock, it's hand-picked, it's here, it's on time, and it's ready for the great summer.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So, as my favourite cut says, keep calm and carry on.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Welcome back. Meridian Energy says it wants a long-term commitment from Rio Tinto if it wants to keep the Bluff aluminium smelter open. Meridian is currently planning for the closure of New Zealand's largest electricity user at Tiwai Point in 2.5 years' time. Meridian cut a deal with Rio Tinto at the start of the last year, swapping cheaper electricity for a commitment to keep the smelter open until the end of 2024. Rio Tinto now says it wants to remain open beyond then, as the smelter is likely to remain highly profitable. Meridian says currently there are no negotiations underway between the two companies. In today's Global Insight, Professor Robert Patman says Russian aggression towards Ukraine is a direct assault on New Zealand's non-nuclear security values. The international affairs commentator says New Zealand needed to speak out more directly on the issue.
It's only 2 weeks since we've talked about Russia and Ukraine, and here we have the situation with the troops in the Donbass, in the separatist area, and I was seeing reports this morning about Soviet troops in Belarus on the border of Ukraine as well. Somebody asked me this week, is this World War III? How far do you think this is going to escalate?
I think it's going to escalate further. One thing we do know that there has been a disconnect between what Mr. Putin has been saying about what Russia is going to do, what it's actually done. What we've seen in the last few weeks has been an extraordinary gap between declaratory policy and substantive policy. Mr. Putin said that Russia had no intention of invading. He said the Minsk agreement was vital to solving the problem. And he also said it was the West which was giving warnings about the extraordinary military build-up of 150,000 plus troops, Russian troops on the border, causing hysteria and unnecessary problems. Of course, we've learnt in the last few days that Mr. Putin has effectively exited out of the Minsk process by recognising the independence, as he calls it, of Luhansk and Donetsk. These are two Moscow-backed separatist groups, which, by the way, were created by the Russians after they intervened in 2014. So, in a sense, both of these groups are a Russian creation, and now the man in the Kremlin is recognising them. And I think, given the fact that Mr. Putin's words do not seem to correspond to actions, we do have grave concerns about whether he will now push on. I mean, the Ukrainian government has put its declared national emergency in the last 12 hours.
Does New Zealand have any skin in the game with this Russia-Ukraine conflict and the way it's escalating?
Yes, it certainly does, Bruce. You know, we are a country which set our course on being having a non-nuclear security policy. In 1994, the Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons in return for international recognition, including Russia's recognition. Russia signed on to this in December 94. Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons in return for recognition of its sovereignty and its territorial integrity. Russia's subsequent steps, Crimea and now Donbass, these seizing of land, means that New Zealand's seeing a non-nuclear stance taken by a country effectively being trashed. So this has a big challenge for our own non-nuclear security policy. We can't really remain silent. After all, New Zealand has just led the movement for a treaty, the treaty to prohibit nuclear weapons. So in a sense, this is a direct assault on the sort of things we stand for in foreign policy. So we should be speaking out in favour of Ukraine, not least because it's a non-nuclear power, and that is a crucial objective in our foreign policy. We want a non-nuclear world.
Are we speaking up strongly enough?
I think we need to speak out more, not just on our own, but we need to get together with like-minded states. What about, for example, 9 members of ASEAN have signed the treaty to prohibit nuclear weapons. That's 9 out of 10. 88 countries, sorry, more than 50 countries have signed the treaty itself. So we should be getting together with those other treaty signers, those countries which have accepted the treaty, and make a statement, a joint statement, saying that we see this as a very negative development and something that we should make our position absolutely clear on.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.
As we go to air, international media are now reporting Russia have begun military operations in the Ukraine. For the full interview with Professor Patman and updates on the developing story, visit odt.co.nz. Still to come on the South today. Decreasing demand from China causes a 30% drop in log export volumes at Port Otago, and we take a look at tomorrow's weather for you.
You're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer. You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Alert, alert, sale closure, imminent, sale closure, imminent.
My Mate John's massive annual sale must end soon. The big one. 20 to 80% off its entire range.
And my mate John.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Welcome back. Lower prices caused by weaker demand from China have seen log export volumes drop by 30% at Port Otago. The Otago Regional Council-owned company released its half-year results, saying there were virtually no log vessels during November and December. Shipping of logs picked up again in the new year, and it is forecasting the log market will recover some lost ground over the next 6 months. The port's total profit for the period dropped by 64%. Putting that into perspective, the port's profit was just $6.5 million compared with more than $18 million the year before. A quest to help members of ethnic communities develop their creativity in the video game sector has been a driving force for one Dunedin organisation. Jesse Segal is originally from India and is keen to encourage others to break into the industry.
A pilot film of role-playing game Oyan's Quest is finding approval at international festivals. The action series was created by Jesse Segal to help develop animation talent. Segal says his studio trains game designers and animators.
The founder of Virtual Production Dojo, which is New Zealand's first industry-specific training academy for virtual production.
The COVID pandemic helped shape a teaching environment that enables students to learn from anywhere.
All our training is done remotely for global participants, and it is not a recorded training. It is all practice-led, instructor-led training.
His company is offering a scholarship for one person who, as part of their training, will be working on the Oyan's Quest episodic series.
So they learn the skills at Virtual Production Dojo. Through that training program, we also give them commercial software bundles that they can keep for themselves.
Segal has a particular interest in encouraging members of ethnic communities to take up his offer.
I struggled through the creative industries, trying to break through, and in the process, I also noticed other people from the Maori community, the Pacifica community, the Pan-Asian community, or other ethnic communities who have been struggling really hard.
A film pilot of Odeon's Quest has been well received at overseas festivals, including being awarded Best Animation at the Andromeda Film Festival and winning the Audience Award at the monthly Indie Shorts Film Festival.
Odeon's Quest was just an example where we had participants or interns from different ethnicities come together, put what they had learned into play, and the results are showing up on international scale.
The Creative Studio is now enrolling for their virtual production training. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. As the nation heads towards the third level of the COVID red light setting, Otago students are getting help in isolation. 50 years of hosting tours at the Taiaroa Head Albatross Colony are celebrated on the Otago Peninsula. And a group of older women are continuing their efforts distributing food to those in need across Christchurch. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Joey. What have you got for us?
So Russia's declared war on the Ukrainians. We'll have details on that. A Dunedin burger restaurant that closed because so many staff were self-isolating is set to reopen as Phase 3 kicks in. Dunedin is dead. It's gut-wrenching. That was how Philadelphia's pizza owner Logan Beck described the feeling of having to close his business. And a Otago Regional Council General Manager lost his cool. Councillors accusing him of piling on the work and calling one resolution a load of rubbish. And the Aaron Hawkins and Lee Van der Vis spats continue.
And so you can catch all of that in tomorrow's ODT, and now it's time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by MolMap.
Another day of mostly fine weather across the region as mild north to northwesterly airflow slowly develops. A cold front will pass over early on Saturday, accompanied by a southwest change and some showers. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, Catlins can expect moderate northeasterlies with cloud and a high of 20 degrees. It'll also be fine inland at Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore, with moderate northerlies, increasing cloud throughout the day and a high of 23. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes area, it'll be fine tonight with light northerlies for Queenstown, Alexandra and Wanaka, with a high of 21 for Queenstown and Alex and 22 for Wanaka. Te Anau is slightly cooler with a high of 19. Looking at the northern towns along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru are in for fine weather with fresh to moderate northerlies, 21 degrees in Timaru and marginally cooler in Oamaru with a high of 20 degrees. It will be warm further inland for Taizo and Amarama, both expecting clear skies with light northerlies and a high of 26. In Dunedin, it's mostly fine tonight with northeasterlies and an overnight low of 9. And it's mostly fine and sunny tomorrow with a sprinkling of light cloud. Northeasterlies become gusty in the afternoon, a high of 20 and a low of 14. And some showers early Saturday morning with fresh southwesterlies with mostly cloudy skies, a high of 15 and a low of 7. And in Invercargill, high cloud increases tonight with moderate northerlies and an overnight low of 10. Tomorrow starts with freshening northwesterlies and increasing high cloud. Expect some rain at night, a high of 22 and a low of 14. And showers clear and there's more sunny periods on Saturday, a high of 15 and a low of 5. And that's the news this Thursday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te pou, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.